Happy day students, welcome to class 9 physics, chapter 10 gravitation part 2. Now we will discuss about Kepler's law of planetary motion. Kepler proposed three laws about the planets which is revolving around the sun. First law says its law of orbits. It says that every planet moves around the sun in elliptical orbit with the sun at one of the foci of the elliptical orbit. So here you can see that there is any concentric circle, but it says that it is an elliptical orbit. Second law, it's a law of areas. The line joining the planet to the sun sweeps over equal areas in equal interval of time. So any point you can consider, so A or B or whatever it is. So here you can see that area of a point is AB, which is equal to area of point SCD. So for a given time. So here the second law tells us that the planet does not move with a constant speed around the sun. It speeds up while approaching the nearest point called perigee. So and slows down while approaching the farthest point called apogee. Therefore, distance covered on the orbit within the given interval of time at perigee is greater than that of at apogee, such that area swept are equal. Third law, law of periods. The square of the time period of revolution of a planet around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. The law is mathematically expressed as t square is proportional to r cube or t square upon r cube, which is equal to constant. Though Kepler gave the laws of planetary motion, he could not give a theory to explain the motion of a planets. Only Newton explained that the cause of the motion of the planets is the gravitational force which the sun exerts on them. Newton used Kepler's third law to develop the law of universal gravitation. Newton's second and third laws and gravitation. According to Newton's third law and universal law of gravitation, every object attracts every other object with gravitational force. These forces are equal and opposite. Therefore, both the object must be moving towards each other due to force. However, due to very weak nature of force, the normal sized bodies are not seen moving towards each other. What happens when a ball is dropped from a certain height from the ground? Ball is seen falling towards the earth, but the earth is not seen jumping towards the ball. Why? According to Newton's second law, force is equal to mass into acceleration. That is, F is equal to m into a. Let m and m be the mass of the earth and the small ball respectively, and a be the acceleration of the earth and the ball respectively. By Newton's third law, F is equal to m into a, or a is equal to F by m, and capital A is equal to F by capital M. For the given force F, the ball experiences larger acceleration due to smaller mass, but the earth experiences negligibly small acceleration due to larger mass. Now we will discuss about free fall. When a body falls from a height towards the earth only under the influence of the gravitational force with no other forces acting on it, the body is said to have a free fall. The body have a free fall is called free falling body. Galileo proved that the acceleration of an object falling freely towards the earth does not depend on the mass of the object. Imagine that vacuum is created by evacuating the air from the glass jar. The feather and the coin falls with the same acceleration and reach the ground at the same time. Acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity is defined as the uniform acceleration produced in a free-falling body due to the gravitational force of the earth. We have learned that the earth attracts objects towards it. This is due to the gravitational force. Whenever object falls towards the earth under this force alone, we say that the objects are in free fall. Is there any change in the velocity of falling objects? While falling, there is no change in the direction of motion of the objects. But due to the earth attraction, there will be a change in the magnitude of the velocity. Any change in velocity involves acceleration. Whenever an object falls towards the earth, an acceleration is involved. This acceleration is due to Earth's gravitational force. Therefore, this acceleration is called the acceleration due to gravity or gravitational force of the earth. It is denoted by small g. The unit of small g is the same as that of acceleration, that is meter per second square, and we can say as a constant value for this It is 9.8 meter per second square. In CGS unit, we can write it as 980 centimeter seconds per second square. And the calculation of acceleration due to gravity. Suppose you are considering a body of mass m is placed on the earth of mass capital M. Capital M is representing mass of the earth and small m is representing a body which is considered as a moon. And the radius we are considering at the center of the point towards the tangent point. According to Newton's universal law of gravitation, force exerted by the earth on the body is given by force is equal to G into capital M into small m upon r square. This force exerted by the earth produces an acceleration of the body. Therefore, F is equal to m into g. So, we are considering the force of acceleration, thus F is equal to m into g. From the two equations, we have mg is equal to g into m by r square, or the relation says the acceleration due to gravity g is equal to capital G m by r square. Here capital G is nothing but it is a universal gravitational constant, and capital M is nothing but it is the mass of the earth and the radius of the earth. Acceleration due to gravity on earth is calculated as follows. That is, we are considering the mass of the earth, that is 6 into 10 to the power of 24 kilogram. Radius of the earth 6.4 into 10 to the power of 6 meter. Gravitational constant 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square kilogram inverse 2. Now we are using the relation small g is equal to capital G m upon r square. Substituting these values, we get 9.8 meter per second square. For simplified calculation, we can take g as 10 meter per second square. Now, variation of acceleration due to the gravity. So, suppose I am considering my radius at h. So, I am considering the distance of from r plus h. So, acceleration due to gravity decreases with altitude. G will taking as g dash, which is equal to gm by r plus h to the whole square. Acceleration due to gravity decreases with depth. Suppose I am considering inside the earth. So my acceleration due to gravity I am considering g dash is equal to gm dash by r minus h the whole square, and I am considering due to the acceleration due to gravity is greater at the poles and less at the equator. So at the poles the acceleration due to gravity gm by rp whole square, and g is equal to gm by re square. Ge is nothing but it is a acceleration due to gravity at equator. Earth is slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator. The radius of the earth at the poles is 21 km less than that at the equator. So, Rp is lesser than Ra. Therefore, from the above equations, capital G and capital N being same, and G is inversely proportional to the square of the radius. That means gravity at poles is greater when compared to gravity at equator. So approximately we can say that gravity at pole 9.823 meter per second square, gravity at equator 9.789 meter per second square, and average we can consider 9.8 meter per second square. Now we will discuss about equations of vertical motion under the influence of G. Consider a body be thrown vertically downward with a velocity u. Let the final velocity of the body after time t be v. Let h be the height, that is the vertical distance covered by the body, and g be the acceleration due to gravity. Then the equation of motion we know very well, v is equal to u plus at. Now we are considering influence of g, that is v is equal to u plus gt. And what is the distance formula? H is equal to ut plus of at square. Now we are considering influence of g, so h is equal to ut plus of gt square. And third equation, v square is equal to u square plus 2gh. That means when a body is dropped freely, the equation of motion are v is equal to gt. So here the initial velocity we are considering 0, and the second equation h is equal to of gt square, and third equation v square is equal to 2gh. When a body is thrown vertically upwards, the equation of motion are v is equal to u minus gt, h is equal to ut minus of gt square, and v square is equal to u square minus 2gh. Example 10.2. A car falls off a ledge and drops to the ground in 0.5 seconds. Let g is equal to 10 meter per second square. For simplifying the calculation, we have to find out what its speeds on striking the ground, what is its average speed during 0.5 second, how high is the ledge from the ground. Now we can say that time which is taking place at 0.5, so 1 by 2 second, and initial velocity, that is nothing but u is equal to 0 meter per second, and acceleration due to gravity, obviously known that we are considering g is equal to 10 meter per second. Acceleration of the car a is equal to plus 10 meter per second square because it is taking downward. First we need to find out speed. So v is equal to at because it is uniformly accelerated. So here v is equal to a is nothing but it is g 10 meter per second square into the time 0.5 second, and we can find out the speed v is equal to 5 meter per second. And next one, we need to find out the average speed during 0.5 second. Average speed is nothing but u plus v by t. Here u is nothing but it is the initial velocity and final velocity is 5 meter per second. So we'll get the average speed which is 2.5 meter per second. And distance traveled, that is s is equal to of at square because the initial velocity is 0, so that term ut gets 0. Now we can proceed 1 by 2 into 10 meter per second square into 0.5 second square. You will get the distance traveled is 1.25 meter. Thus, what it's trying to say here, speed on striking the ground 5 meter per second. Its average speed during the 0.5 second is 2.5 meter per second. Height of the ledge from the ground is 1.25 meter. Example 10.3. An object is thrown vertically upwards and rises to a height of 10 meter. Calculate the velocity with which the object was thrown upwards and the time taken by the object to reach the highest point. Now we can consider the distance traveled s is equal to 10 meter and the final velocity it's reaching. So here we are considering the final velocity is 0 meter per second, and acceleration due to gravity is nothing but 9.8 meter per second square, and acceleration of the object, we know it is upward motion, that is a is equal to minus 9.8 meter per second square. So now we have to calculate the velocity with which the object was thrown upwards. So v square is equal to u square plus 2as. You know what is the initial velocity? 0, and the final velocity we need to find out. So here if you are proceeding the value, you will get minus u square is equal to minus 2 into 9.8 into 10 meter square and s inverse 2. That means you will get u is equal to root of 196 meter per second, and the answer is 14 meter per second. So the initial velocity of the object is 14 meter per second. And next thing, we have to calculate the time. So you know very well v is equal to u plus at. So here final velocity is 0, initial velocity 4 meter per second, and substitute the value, you will get the time t is equal to 1.43 second. Thus the initial velocity is u is equal to 14 meter per second and time will be taking us 1.43 second. Now we can say Cartesian sign convention for vertical motion. The physical quantities having vertical upward motion are assigned positive values. On the other hand, the physical quantities having vertically downward motion are assigned negative values. Acceleration due to gravity always acts in a downward direction and hence taken negative. And tips to solve the numerical problems: g is always taken negative. When a body is dropped freely, its initial velocity is 0. When a body is thrown vertically upwards, its final velocity becomes 0 at the maximum height. The time taken by a body to rise to the highest point is equal to the time it takes to fall from the same height.